let's cover some actual PUBG news. So PUBG made a tweet about the Sanhok thing. I covered that, right? So destructible environments come into Sanhok, not just ground destruction, actual building, like full-scale Battlefield 4 building destruction coming to PUBG is going to be, like I said in my video today, I think literally the biggest update that we might quite literally have ever seen in PUBG ever. Like it's going to be that game-changing. There's a bad gateway, and I get a different gateway. But in other news, notice regarding the enforcement of usage of keyboard and mouse on console. I think this is the first ever like public announcement of PUBG confirming keyboard and mouse is illegal, unauthorized on console, and they're going to potentially be banning people. So it's a very, very, very short article. So just going to take a couple of seconds to go over it. But here's what you need to know. PUBG made this announcement. We've received numerous requests from the community to strengthen measures against the usage of keyboard and mouse on console. We've been closely monitoring relevant reports and activities. However, due to the allowance of external recognition devices, such as USBs on console platforms, implementing these actions were being delayed. What this means is, I've described this previously, and I learned this when I went to the PUBG event in Germany. One of the issues that PUBG has to get over, one of the adversities they have, is they have to be able to support disability accessible devices on console. I'm assuming that same goes for computers, but for computers, you don't really have to have the problem because it doesn't matter if you use keyboard and mouse on computers. But for consoles, some people physically aren't able to pick up a controller and to use it for certain disabilities that they have. And so I don't know if it's a law or if they're just trying to be a good company and allow or have access to accessibility controllers for use on console. And those things, if you've never seen them, accessibility controllers are things like this. So like they're a slew of different devices. So like here's one, for example, that's for PlayStation. Here's one that Microsoft makes, or Logitech makes, I should say, not Microsoft. And so it's obviously nothing like a traditional controller, right? So those kind of things are, look at this one. Those are accessibility devices that are made to give people an alternate way to connect and play games who otherwise, wouldn't be able to, like I said, pick up a traditional controller and stuff. And I think there's a legal requirement for them to do that, but obviously I don't know the law, so maybe not. But that's what I understand it to be. And so that's one of the problems, is that they had to figure out a way to, I guess, identify what was an accessibility controller and then what is someone just plugging in like an XIM adapter thingy to plug a mouse and keyboard in. And so now apparently they figured that out, because this is like their first time kind of publicly stating that you can't use a mouse and keyboard. And they're saying this here specifically. They're enhancing the penalty against the usage of keyboard and mouse. This only affects consoles, so Xbox and PlayStation, and the implementation date is November 27th. So tomorrow. Right now it's November 26th at the time of this recording. We sincerely apologize for the delay in implementing these measures and truly appreciate your patience and continued support. With this update, PUBG Battlegrounds team remains committed to reinforcing penalties for unauthorized keyboard and mouse usage on console platforms going forward. So does this mean they're going to permanently ban people for using mouse and keyboards? I doubt it. Hopefully this means, short-term, long-term suspension, warnings, whatever they got to start doing for a keyboard and mouse, because to my knowledge, there have not been any bans for people using external devices on console. Even though it really technically hasn't been allowed, I don't think they've ever actually banned people for using like XIMs or whatever on console. Now, what I don't think this is going to help counter is, what's that thing called? Kronos, whatever. I don't know if this counters that, because that apparently will give people like the macro controller or like auto aim, like all that kind of stuff on the controller. I don't know if this detects that sort of thing, or if this is only to detect the input device for your console. But either way, it is really good news for you console players, because I do remember starting out on PUBG console, it was an issue back then. And I imagine the issue's only gotten worse over time as more people learn that they can plug in a mouse and keyboard on console. So that's good news. And hopefully we start to see enforcement of those penalties starting tomorrow, and clean up the battlegrounds, help your gameplay be a little bit less sketchy when going up against these laser beam warriors. When some of these people are just good at the game. Console's been out for what, 6 years, almost 7 years. So some people are just really good at the game, and if you get killed by those people, then GG to them. It is what it is. But if you're getting beamed by a full auto M16 spray across the map, like, okay, well that's obviously not ideal. So hopefully they crack down on it and they actually enforce it, and I will keep you guys posted when I see any more updates. Speaking of cheaters, though, I wanted to see if they had any update on bans, because they usually will make a weekly ban notice. This was as of November 20th. So this would have been last week's investigation period, November 11th through November 17th. So here you go. This is the most recent ban notice. Click here for a full list of permanently banned accounts. I'm not going to bother with that. But here you go. Active accounts banned. Only 55,000 accounts. So I say only, and I'm not being facetious. Historically, PUBG has banned around 100,000 accounts each week. Now it's only 55,000 accounts. That's good news. That's a good sign that they're banning half of the people they used to ban. And I don't think that means nefariously that they're letting half of the cheaters still play. I think that means that there's actually less cheaters. There's more permanent bans. So that's good news to see that number go down. Do they have any details about it? Please report illegal software or misconduct through in-game reports to ensure valuable account is not abused or banned. Make sure you sign up for the Steam Guard mobile authenticator. That's to keep your accounts from being stolen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's it. So nothing crazy to talk about in terms of cheating, but hey, weekly, they're banning. Look, devices banned, but is that for console too? 35,000 devices banned? I think that's just hardware bans. And I don't think that affects console. But I'm pretty sure people can get around hardware bans if they really want to. Replacing specific hardwares or using like software to change the particular hardware address that gets banned. I'm pretty sure there's ways around that if they want to do it bad enough. But yeah, for people who say they should do hardware bans, they do. So just last week alone, 35,000 were banned and 55,000 accounts affected. 45,000 of those are cheaters, 6,500 team kills, 21 teaming, and 430 abuses. Yeah, ranked is always going to be higher for cheaters. Always. Like in any region, ranked is where most of the cheaters play. Do they tell how many matches a week they have? No, but that would be nice to know, right, Zixi? Is to know of these accounts that are banned, what is the age of these accounts? And you might be able to go look that up yourself, honestly, because they have a list of the accounts. Well, no, I guess they block out the first three letters. The first three letters of the account. So maybe it would be a bit more of a tedious task to go find that out. But yeah, I would be interested to know, are these of the 45,000 accounts that are banned for cheating, are they all like 3 months or less newer accounts? Are they like a week old account? Are these old accounts being like what would the age of the accounts be? That would be nice to know. Speaking of cheating, I saw on Twitter today, because I know obviously a lot of people will say PUBG is the worst with cheaters and stuff like that. And I honestly don't think that's the case. I don't think there's any evidence to back that up. Courage JD calls out Ricochet anti-cheat the biggest failure in recent Call of Duty history. Apparently, Call of Duty updates tweeted out, Team Ricochet with an update. Ranked play launched this week and we're on it. While there's lots of work behind the scenes, here are some highlights and blah, blah, blah. They tweeted out some highlights. And then Courage said, Ricochet is the biggest failure in recent Call of Duty history. It's insane. Not that there's any data to support that. I'm sure there is if you dig into it. I don't care enough to go look at Call of Duty cheater reports, but just a little anecdotal evidence just to say, hey, just remember, all these games are free to play. Every one of these games is going to have tons of cheaters in them. And all of the companies are scrambling to try and defeat the cheaters. I don't personally believe in the conspiracy that companies want these cheaters to play their game because they quote unquote make money. I've never seen evidence to support that. To me, it makes the most sense that it's a huge expenditure for the company to have to develop and constantly redevelop their anti-cheat detection software to find these cheaters and get rid of them, versus the argument that, oh, well, these people buy skins, so that's why they are still supported. There's no evidence to support that I can see. And I've been told that the people who buy these accounts to cheat on, they don't pay for the skins. They're getting the skins for free. Like, they're buying these accounts already with these skins. And so they're getting these skins for pennies on the dollar anyway. So it's not like PUBG's making like thousands of dollars on all these hack accounts that get banned, in a couple weeks anyway. I'd love to be proven otherwise, though. I'd love to see some actual evidence that says, no, so this is it. They are making hundreds of thousands of dollars from these cheating accounts, and this is why. I don't think that's the case. They need to do a kernel anti-cheat like Valorant does. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I don't know how this shit works in the back end at all. Rainbow Six anti-cheat is by far the most effective that you've noticed. Like, just by playing the game, or like you've seen like numbers on, like, statistics on this showing players, percentage of cheaters, that kind of stuff. Zakanthos is a kernel anti-cheat. There you go, Sky. So whoever said Nero, you said they need to do a kernel anti-cheat. Apparently Zakanthos, which is PUBG's proprietary anti-cheat system, they developed it, is a kernel anti-cheat. Rainbow Six Siege uses the same anti-cheat that PUBG does, BattlEye. Well, isn't BattlEye just like kind of like the blanket anti-cheat that all Steam games use, or that all Steam games can use? But just because they use BattlEye doesn't mean that's like their only one, right? Do you use a VPN to enjoy only China events and earn skins? No, I don't. You can, and for some of them you don't even have to use a VPN for. You can literally just change your your language and stuff in your computer. Like, change your time zone, change your language, and then log into PUBG and do it. Or you could VPN for some of them, I believe. PlayRGN usually tweets out when they go on. Flash on Twitter usually tweets them out when they go on. I think actually Flash recently did one, right? China November event. How to join. Windows system language. Change it to Chinese plus your time zone to Beijing. Click on the events page in the news tab of PUBG lobby, and then follow those steps to get those kind of skins. For the record, it's dumb that you even have to do any of this to get access to these events. The whole idea of a global game having region-only skin events is beyond me. It's a slap in the face to the other regions that don't have those events. It doesn't make any sense why they would do that for one specific region. Like, you're talking about free in-game rewards that you're only giving for certain players. That doesn't make any sense. Cripple, you and me both. The server unmerger, for those that are asking, is happening December 4th for PC. So that's next Wednesday. When you log in to PUBG next Wednesday, if you're on PC, the servers will be unmerged. North America will be back on North America only. South America will have South America only. And Australia is still going to get the shaft with theirs. They're going to be back, or still with Southeast Asia, I believe is who they're with. On Rainbow Six for 7 years, Entity is the worst. They aren't banning mouse and keyboard players on console, even though they say it's cheating. They tried a thing called Mousetrap, but they avoided it. You see how ironic that is? One person comments and says Rainbow Six is the best anti-cheat they've seen, and then literally not even 30 seconds later, someone else comes in and says it's the worst they've ever seen. Not saying that either of you are correct or incorrect. It's just funny how a lot of people will run with anecdotal evidence, which is why I like what PUBG does when they tweet out or they make those weekly notices. Like, there's the data, there's how many accounts were banned, hardware bans, accounts affected, teamers, team kill, whatever, all this stuff. And it's pretty transparent. Obviously they could be more transparent, of course, but it's pretty darn transparent considering I don't see any other companies doing that.